What up, guys? Welcome back for another beer review. We're going to take a brief break from the Oktoberfest and pumpkin beers to get into something that I hadn't seen when I was in Arizona or traveling, but I knew it was around. And so when I got back to Michigan, I picked up a double Two-Hearted. It is a double American IPA. Now, the regular Two-Hearted, for me, is one of the best beers out there. It's just that classic IPA that's been around for a while now. It was an established IPA long before the kind of IPA craze took over. So it's almost like OG American IPA. And so I'm kind of interested what this is going to be like. Is this too much of a good thing? Are they kind of screwing it up? Because there's also a light version of Two-Hearted. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to crack it open. And I'm actually surprised it took them this long to make a double version. Just because for how popular the double IPA has gotten over the last couple of years. It's also kind of crazy. I don't believe I've reviewed Two-Hearted on this channel yet. It's like I've had it so many times over the years. It's just kind of one of those things where it's like you go to the beer store and you're like, nah, I've already had that one. I'm going to try some new stuff. So, but I don't know if little blurb on the back. Everything you love about our classic Two-Hearted Ale, now in a double IPA with 2.5 times the amount of Centennial hops. Double Two-Hearted has intense pine and citrus notes, a resinous hop aroma, and rich malt character. It is 11% ABV. Shelf life is 3 months, according to this. So, yeah. All right. Let's get into the review. Get into the smell. It's got that pungent pine aroma right at the top. Very much a malted pine. Bit of a kind of like a woody aroma, like a wet cask. Or you're sitting by a pile of wood that's been in the rain for a while. It's got that kind of like damp wood aroma. Yeah, it really kind of smells like you were sitting in a pine forest right after a heavy rain. If you could turn that into an IPA, that's what this smells like. And I think it smells pretty good. I am going to recommend it on aroma. We'll see how I go for taste, but let's get into taste. Yeah, you'd almost chew that. I do not like this as much as the regular one. You can taste that it's 11%. Initially you have that kind of pine taste to it, that bitter pine. But the maltiness almost bursts out and takes over. The maltiness is very tip of your tongue kind of thing. A very charred, burnt, like burnt wood. You don't really have the smokiness in there. I don't know. I feel like the pine is already kind of strong, but it's like they wanted the malt to be more to like, okay, we want it kind of high on the hoppiness. We're gonna bump the malt up even higher, and it almost like the malt is almost fighting for me. The malt is fighting with the hoppiness, and they're almost like competing, and not necessarily in a good way. Like they're not helping each other out with this thing. Yeah, like I think they should have gone with a a different flavor profile. Like, you have already the pine, and then this maltiness that they're adding to it is very similar in taste to that kind of earthy pine, and it's just kind of like balling up. I feel like they should have gone the other spectrum, and so you have like two kind of like yin and yang kind of things, and they kind of mesh better. This is just like all one side, and it's just, and I feel like this is Two Hearted in name only. I feel like it's kind of like that new Mustang Mach-E. It has nothing to do with Mustang. They just used the name. It's like, I feel like that's what this is. They did double Two Hearted, so you drive up sales, because if it's just a double IPA from Bell's, you're like, it's probably fine. It's Bell's beer, but whatever. But you've had Two Hearted. You've had Two Hearted, and you probably are really into it. And so it's like, oh, okay, let's try a double IPA version of Two Hearted. To me, it very much loses the Two Hearted like profile, and it's just like, I don't want to say bastardizing the name. It's not like a terrible beer, but it's just, I feel like it's an unnecessary beer. You screwed around with the ingredients because a double IPA is popular, and it became something else. And it's a double IPA. It's not a Two Hearted. So I mean, it's not, I don't know. Maybe if you are a big fan of a malt-forward double IPA, where you don't have any of the like fruity aspects of like some of the more modern double IPAs, some of the hazy and juicy, those kinds of things. If you don't like that and you like just the malt-forward pine kind of thing, you'll probably dig this. But again, don't go into it expecting, oh, this is just going to be like a more intense version of a Two Hearted. Because that's not what I'm getting. Even though after that entire rant, it's not a terrible tasting beer. It's not for me. And it's not for the name. So I am going to give it a half. Because it tastes fine. I don't think it lives up to the name. So I'm going to give it a half, but I'm not going to recommend it. Next category is value for price, and surprisingly, this was not expensive. Normally you go to the store and you're going for a double IPA, anything like that, you're going to spend $4-5, maybe more, on a single. This one was like $2.29. I mean, yeah, granted, the Bell's Brewery is maybe like 40 minutes away, but still, that's where, I mean, you're not really going to get that double IPA, like craft beer, for that cheap. So in terms of if you want something that's inexpensive, absolutely this one does it. So I will recommend that at value for price. Next category is distinction. How distinct is it? And, I mean, it is distinct in the way that this IPA is different from your standard modern IPAs that are coming out. It really has no fruity profile to it. Even though I think it might have said that there's a citrus notes, I mean, kind of. Very subtle, very hidden under the maltiness and the pine. But if you go searching, you can probably find it. But many of the modern IPAs, it's very, the fruitiness, the citrus, the pineapple, it's very forward. You get that almost right away. So this is more, and they still kind of base it a bit on like the old school style of like American IPAs. And so in that way, it is unique from a lot of the other double IPAs you get nowadays. So I'll give it to them for that. I don't think that this necessarily should exist, but, it exists. It does exist, and because it's not made in like the modern IPA style, it is kind of unique in that sense. So I guess, yeah, I will recommend it for distinction because, it really strips away that fruity aspect of a lot of the fruity, juicy aspect of a lot of the modern IPAs and double IPAs. Next category is drinkability, and I mean, it is 11% ABV, so you got some heft. You have some definite heft in this beer. It's a little, I mean, it's strong. You taste the 11%. You drink it, and I mean, without anybody telling you what the ABV is, you'd be like, this is a high ABV. I don't even need you to tell me how high it is. I probably would have, I mean, it might even be higher than what I'd necessarily guess if I was just to taste it and, I'd probably say 9.5, 10. Once you get over 10, you're approaching wine ABV. And, I mean, so we got an 11. So drinkability 4 and 11 is not bad. It's still, I mean, it's not something you're going to crush. It's, after maybe 1, it's probably like, okay, I got to do something else. This is just like, so I'm going to give it another half for this. It's drinkable, but I think, I mean, for me, the further I get into this, it's going to be like, I got to finish this so I can get to something else. So yeah. Last category is would I buy it again, and I don't think I'm going to buy it again. Again, if you are a malt-forward, not juicy IPA fan, give this a whirl. I think you'll really dig it. I don't think it does the traditional Two Hearted any justice at all. I don't think it has any connection with that beer. So, that doesn't mean you're not going to like it. It's just, I was expecting more of a Two Hearted taste to it. Just maybe a little more intense. It's like when you double one particular ingredient, you're just not making it more intense. You're completely changing it. I mean, you take any food ingredient, anything, and you double one ingredient, it's gonna be, It's like take your favorite barbecue sauce, double the sugar in it. That's gonna be different. It's gonna be totally different. Or double the vinegar that's in it, totally different. Like, it doesn't matter what, if every other ingredient is the same, it's going to taste totally different because the whole flavor profile changes. That's kind of what happens with this. So I'm not going to buy it again, but again, you might totally dig it if that's the kind of IPA you like. But anyways, that is my review of Bell's Double Two Hearted Double American IPA. Have you had it before? What do you think? Do you think it is in line with a regular Two Hearted, or are you like me and it's just like it's just name only? They use the name to sell this beer and that's it. Let me know in the comments, like, subscribe, do all the good stuff. And so for now, probably the next couple beers, I'll be trying to get back into the pumpkin and the seasonal beers, try to get more into that. But anyways, for myself and for Bell's Double Two Hearted Ale, take it easy.